Hi guys, Crypto Numpty back for the fourth video on the channel. Hope you enjoyed my previous videos. This one I'm going to go through support and resistance levels with you and my understanding of them. Again, these are purely my take on the various aspects of trading. So if there are people out there who are experts in trading and you know are shouting at the computer monitor saying that's wrong, I do apologise. I'm not an expert. I don't come from a trading background. But I do like to share my experiences and share the lessons that I've learned with other guys and gals out there who might want to start trading cryptocurrency, who don't understand some of the technical speak when they start reading up on the internet articles and on some of the blogs and the social media posts. Okay, so let's get straight into it then. What are support and resistance levels? Well, they are pretty self-explanatory. If you think of them as ceilings and floors, and what the stock's trying to do is sometimes it's confined within that room, within that space, that floor and ceiling, and at other times it breaks through the ceiling, or sometimes it can fall through the floor. If you do read up on some cryptocurrency news articles, you'll see that they talk about support and resistance levels, and hopefully with the last video they do mention the indicators as well, about the moving averages and so on and so forth. So typically for me, when I'm looking at support and resistance levels, obviously as a day trader, you know, I'm dealing with the here and now. I'm looking at the immediate status of the market to decide whether I'm going to trade or not. But in order to do that, I need to have some idea of where the prices are going to go. I need to have an idea if the prices are going to go up, and I do that by looking at the indicators, look at the market overall, if it's a bullish or bearish market, and then start looking at the support and resistance lines. So this particular pairing for an altcoin, which is SALT, with Bitcoin, the trading that's going on today is all confined within this little space here, within this little area. So for me to look at that time period and start making decisions on what are the support and what are the resistance levels, for me to know what a price might go up to or what my price might drop down to, would be very silly, because it's tunnel vision. You know, it's looking at an area of a chart that goes back you know, for months and months and months, and the last thing you want to do when you're looking at support and resistance levels is trying to think about you know, drilling down into the microscopic detail of, all right, okay, is that a support and that a resistance, or that support and that resistance. So normally what I tend to do is, rather than looking at this microscopically, I tend to zoom out and look at a longer period of time to try and gauge whether the price is going to go up to this level, or whether a price is going to go back down to this level. The tool I use for this is QFT charts. I'll put the link in the description in the video. It's a really good tool. I find it very handy. There are others out there, so please feel free to shop around, find your own preference, and come up with something that suits you. So why do we need to know what the support and resistance levels are? Well, we need to know because we've looked at the market overall. We've decided if it's a bullish or bearish market. For the longer term investors, that's going to be quite crucial, quite important. But for me as a day trader, I just need to know which direction the market's moving in to know whether it's a good idea to continue investing in cryptocurrency. At the moment we're in a bearish market, but there is a lot of positive news on the horizon about it. The market's increasing in value overall, so that stands me in good stead. I'm quite comfortable with that. We've gone through the candlesticks and you know, spotting the signals within the candlesticks to see whether we can predict whether the price is going to go up or down, and that's what all of this is all about really. It's all about you trying to predict if a price is going to go up or down, and if you could predict the future, potentially you could make quite a lot of money. You know, I mean, if you look at just this period of time here, if you had invested several hundreds of thousands of dollars or pounds at this point here, and then sold at this point here, then you still get your money back, but also on top of that you would have made quite a lot of profit. And it's all relative as well. So if you invest $1 or £1 at this point, then you might get $1 and so many cents back at this point. Or pounds, if you invest £1 here, you might invest £1 there and you get £1.10 back. So it's all relative to the amount of money that you invest. And remember, if you're only investing the amount that you can afford to lose, then if you're investing hundreds of thousands, then I don't think this video is for you, because you're going to have, hopefully you're going to have a lot of support and people backing you up with that. But for the small time traders like myself, this is something to bear in mind. So in terms of support and resistance, it's quite important for us to be able to predict how much a price might go up by, or how much a price might fall by, and when is that going to stop. So if you think of support and resistance as ceilings and floors, the market is always trying to break through the floor or break through the ceiling, depending on which way it's going. And if you read through the various blogs and news articles on cryptocurrency and social media threads, you'll hear them talking about levels of support and resistance, and in doing that, what they're trying to do is they're trying to predict, or they're giving their predictions on a various altcoin and the fact that it's going to break through resistance levels or support levels. Now for me, when I'm doing that, obviously I've done all of the stuff previously. I've looked at the indicators, I've looked over on Crypto Watch, I've had a look to see which ones the movers are and which the non-movers are. I can get a good idea of market volatility, how much of the price is moving by, or are they just steadily floating along. And you can see Ripple, we were discussing in the previous video, it's been floated along for quite some time now, and all of a sudden it's had this massive jump, so that shows good volatility over the last 24 hours. You can see there's no red on there. You see a couple of little bits of red there, but in comparison to the other charts, Ripple's been quite positive over the last 24 hours. So once I've done that, then I'll pick out one of the coins that's showing good volatility. We've got Tron that's showing good volatility, and we mentioned Salt as well. But there are so many to choose from, and as we say, the more volatility there is in a market, the more opportunity there is for you to make profit. And as I say, guys, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of altcoins. I would say be careful when you're looking at trading in altcoins, because obviously the more volatile ones are the ones, or the lesser known ones. So it's always worth going over to CoinMarketCap, and typically I deal with the top 30, top 40 altcoins. And that's purely from a risk point of view. I want to make sure I'm backing an altcoin that has the team behind it, the investment behind it, to make sure that it's not going to go bankrupt or just disappear and I'm going to lose money. So once I've chosen a coin to trade in, I then go over to QFT charts. I'll put the link in the description for QFT charts. It's a really good charting tool in my mind, because it does allow you that functionality to be able to drill back into the history and start plotting using some of the charting tools and plotting some of the lines on there. Now, how much I look into a support and resistance level will depend on the type of trading I'm doing. So if you were a long time investor, you need to look at the entire history of whatever coin it is you're looking at. You need to look back over the last several months to be able to try and see what the support and resistance levels are, in my opinion anyway, or that's my understanding of it. Whereas for me as a day trader, I'm really only interested in the last 2 to 3 weeks, because it's that period in time where I'm going to get more accurate predictions about the market volatility for today. So yeah, that's kind of the starting point really. QFT charts by default they do plot some lines onto the chart for you, and for me I tend to disregard these because everyone has their own idea or their own opinion as to what a support and resistance level is, and the more practice you put into drawing these and plotting these onto the chart, the easier it will become to spot where to put the lines, and then you can start looking at what the price is going to go up to and what the price may drop to. So at the moment I'm just looking at September's charts here, from the left of the screen there over to present day on the right hand side, and I want to start looking at where we're at now. So we can see we've had this rise in value over the last couple of days, and then we can see a drop in value, and we've got a little rise before it starts to fall again. If I want to trade on salt, first I need to understand what's going to happen to this price and where this price is going to go. And when it does move, I'll look at all of the indicators and say, right, I think this price is going to increase, or this price is going to decrease. Now that's all well and good, but I need to know how much it's going to increase or decrease by. I need to know what level it's going to drop down to, or what level it may increase to. So to do that, I need to look back through previous history. I need to look at times in the past where it used that support line or that floor, or where it used that ceiling, in fact, and try and project those across to present day to make an informed decision. I'm not trying to guess what's going to happen here. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to minimize the risk I put into my trade. So the first port of call for me, as always, is to draw a line, and this is just my approach to this. Is to draw a line onto here on the present day value and where the present day value sits, and I'll just drive that up a little bit. So that line there is level with today's or this hour's current price. And then what I'll start doing is I'll start looking back through the chart to see if there are any other times where it reached this level. And I can see over here back on the 7th of September, this level actually was a resistance level for the price. It was a ceiling for the price. But anywhere else, it doesn't really touch on anywhere else in the charts. It gets a little bit closer there and maybe there, but it's not very much consistent with the pattern on the chart. So what I'll do then is I'll just start to move that around a little bit and see if there are any more levels that I can spot where the points touch more frequently. And I can see on that level there, I can see where it touched there, it touched there, it touched there. We've got over here, we've got a slight rise above it there. It touched there, there, there. You can see there was a little bit of inconsistency there and also there. So that's the first port of call. Once I've done that, then again, it's not set in stone. I'm not saying that is the level, but that's just the next step. Going on from this price, what it is today, I'm looking at how often this lower price, or this what would now be a support level or a floor for the price, I'm looking at where that happened previously on the chart. And then what I'll do is I'll go back in time and just see if this follows through. Is this consistent with prices previously? And we find that actually this was a ceiling there, and again there we can see something happening on the chart there. We can also see it then became, once it broke through the ceiling, it then became a support level, then dropped below, came back up. But even there, guys, I mean, when you're looking at the support and resistance levels, you're looking at this, you're looking at the price rising, hitting that ceiling there, and you can see the indecision, you can see the red candles there. Sorry, just zoom in. You can see the red candles there where the bears came in and said, well, you've hit the ceiling now, you can't go up anymore. But at this point in time, the bulls said, well, we're going to break through the ceiling, and they did. And you can see even here the bears tried to push it back down through that ceiling, and even succeeded at that point, just a little bit before it rose again. So that price level, you can see it continues on through the chart, and it's quite consistently there. So if we move back to present day, where we were earlier, we can see where that is in relationship to our month of September, and you can also see it where that is in relationship to the prices that QFT charts drew on for us. I think they were close there because that was over that period of time, but there isn't anywhere else where QFT actually drew this onto the chart for us and said, right, that's a support or a resistance level. I'll just drop that back down again. You have to be careful when you're doing this because it's quite easy to sort of move the line around. So yeah, so at the moment, as it stands today, and certainly now, because the price is above this line, and you can see we touched on it there and started bouncing back off it, I can see the price where it is at the moment is above that line, so that then becomes my floor. I don't want the price to drop below this, and typically what I'd do is set up a notification of this price. So it's 7,222, round it down to 720. There's quite a lot of apps out there that you can get on your phone where you can set this up for an altcoin to be included into the app and set up an alarm, a notification on your phone. And what I'll do now is I'll set up a notification on the app that I use, which is Blockfolio. Again, I'll put a link in the description for that. But I'll set a notification up to tell me when the price drops below 7,220. I won't bother with the 2, 720. And what this will do, this will tell me when or if this price drops and actually breaches this line. Once I've done that, then I've got my floor, I'm looking for my ceiling now, so I'm looking to say, right, if the price drops below that, if I hold any salt coins, I need to make sure that if I bought down here, I need to make sure if it drops below that line, I need to make sure I sell that coin, because if it drops below that line, it's then going to start falling towards the next floor, and the next floor is going to be quite a lot further down. And then the next floor we're probably looking at, again, just looking over this time period, looking for these peaks in the chart, and just using my cursor and using the crosshairs to try and match up as many points as possible. So actually I think probably there, if it does drop below this floor, this support level, that's probably where I would put the next support level. And again, you know, I'm pretty sure there are apps and websites out there which will actually tell you what these are. But being myself, I don't want to rely on other people giving me the information. I want to learn myself. I want to teach myself to recognise the patterns. The reason I put it there is because I think that shows quite a lot of consistency across the chart, in terms of, you know, it supported it there. We can see it battled, or it dropped below and it sort of battled around here, but again we can see a bit of support there. We can certainly see support there and there. what was a resistance level here when the price was below, and also within this period of time here, we can see over 24 hours it went above that resistance level there, and it then sort of bounced up and down off that floor, and off the ceiling, in fact, before it eventually dropped through the floor. So there we have another notification, and the second notification would be a reason to buy. So obviously, if we're holding Saltcoin at the moment, we're hoping that the price is going to increase, but my decision is, if it breaks below this level here, I want to make sure I sell my coins, because if it breaks below that level there is more chance. And again, if you look at the indicators, make sure that you compile a lot of evidence, but there is a strong chance that if it does break that support level at the moment, then it's going to drop down to this support level, and I don't want to lose that much money. So I'll make sure, as a stopgap, I'll make sure that if it does drop below that, make sure I sell, so I don't incur heavy losses. But also, the other thing this indicator does is it gives me an option to be notified when might be a good chance to buy. Again, looking back through the historical data on the chart, we can see that this was quite a good indicator of where the support and resistance levels were over time. I mean, this is back in September, all the way back through to we're in August now, I think, August, and we can still see it flitting around this line. We can see it breaking above that level there, we can see it dropping slightly below, and the same again there. So potentially, this price here for this coin is a good option, or a good opportunity for me to buy, as long as it doesn't break below that support level. Finally, we'll talk about the ceiling, which is the resistance level, and the resistance levels for any commodity are drawn up very much in the same way. We're trying to plot a line on the graph where we're quite confident that that if the price does increase, it's going to increase to this price, or it's going to try and reach this price, and it's quite easily done. Again, we look at the month of September. We'll just try and increase that time frame. We look at the month of September a little bit, and we look at where the price is today. We can see that's not really very consistent with the rest of the chart. We do have one point here where it touched, but a lot of the others are breaking through. We just increase and increase and increase that slightly, and again, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to look at levels on the chart where it touches as many times as possible. And for me, as a ceiling to my trades, I would probably put the level round about there. And the reason for that, at the beginning of September, that was a very strong support line for this trading here. We can see when the price decreased, we can see that there was a question over whether the price should decrease any more and drop through that zone just there. Also in the nearer term, we have the same here. We have a big, a strong support level there. We broke through there and it became a resistance level, and then just recently, again, we broke through there and we broke through and it became a resistance level before we dropped back down again. So at the moment then I have three channels. At the moment I have what is currently my support line, which is what I'm looking for in terms of selling if I hold any of the altcoin. We then have our next line down, which for me is our secondary support line, and that secondary support line is what I'll use to decide whether I'm actually going to buy into this altcoin or not. The third line again is our notification to make sure that we're making money. So if the notification is set up on Blockfolio that the price has increased above this level, then that tells me if I do hold any of the coin, that's a good thing. That means I'm into profits. Once it's broke through that level, I then think, well, if it's broke through that level, how much more is it going to go? How much more is it going to break through? You know, how much more is it going to increase? So as we did down here, whereas that is an indication to buy, I'm looking at an indication to sell. We broke through that level there. We put our fourth and final line in, and the near term or the immediate future, we can see that there was quite a strong resistance level there, and that's backed up on previous charts where it actually was a support level when the price was high. It actually was a support level there, and similar further down back in history. You know, we go back through September, August, sorry, and we can see that it's consistently there as a level of support. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's the idea behind support and resistance lines. Apologies if it's you know, a little bit sketchy, but apologies if it's a little bit unprofessional. But as I say, I'm not from this sort of background. You know, I don't. This is not what I do for a living, and me trying to explain things is quite hilarious sometimes. Okay, so that's what we've got on support and resistance levels, guys. That's what I know so far, just in it as a brief description. I could go into more detail about you know, setting up strategies in terms of your thresholds for when you're setting up your buy and sell trades, but once again, you know, these are just indicators, and you should not use these alone to predict whether you should buy and sell. You always try and patch everything together, put everything together in a package, make sure you have the you know, the best chance of making a profit and not losing money. And hopefully the explanation over these 4 videos will give you enough information to de-risk your trading as much as possible. In the early days when I first started trading, I started reading and learning about trading, but I also opened an account, put some funds into that account, and started to lose money quite quickly because I didn't really understand the idea or the concept behind support and resistance levels, and was just looking at one thing at a time. You know, I started by looking at candles, candlesticks, and patterns in candlesticks, and that didn't really make me any money at all. Then I started looking at the candlesticks with the Bollinger Bands and the MACD, and okay, so I then started to win a few trades and lose a few trades, which was a positive step for me, and then started using the support and resistance lines, and it was only when I tied all of them together that I actually started to make money and make a profit. To give you an idea, when I started trading with $1,000 because that just seemed like the right amount to start with. It was also an amount for me that I could afford to lose. I think today $500 is what, £600 or something like that. With Brexit going on, it's not going to be very much at all, but it's an amount that's quite easily attainable, I think, for most people. And in future videos we'll go about setting up an account and how to deposit your funds and transfer them over. But as of today, the funds are, so I'm currently at $1,700, so I've made $700. $700 is over 6, so it'd be 7 weeks of trading now. So in 7 weeks, $700, that's $100 a week. That's a far cry from the $100 a day scam artists that post up on YouTube. As I said in the first video, you know, it's not that easy. If it was that easy, everyone would do it. You're not going to get it handed to you on a plate. You do have to work for it. But in future videos also, I'll give you some advantages or advantage plays where you can start setting your bids and setting stop limits on your bids to make sure that you're not sitting in front of a computer for 24 hours a day, you know, afraid that you might lose money. So when you're trading on an exchange, you buy and sell, but you can also sell different, or you can set up different buying options. So yeah, we'll go through those on a later video. But I think the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through putting everything together, and actually we'll set up a trade on Binance in my account. We'll look at the indicators. We'll look at the support and resistance levels, and then we'll set a trade up. I'll show you how to set up a limit trade, a market trade, and a stop limit trade. Stop limit trades are absolutely vital, because they are your exit strategy to make sure that you don't lose too much money if you do lose on a trade. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to like, subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be posting quite a lot of videos. I'm going to make this a regular theme now to just take you through my trading experience. I'll click some I'll put some links in the descriptions to some charting tools and various websites where you can find out information from about support and resistance levels. And yeah, as I say, if you like the video, just click the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you soon.